are watching West Hartford Community Television.
You're watching West Hartford Community Television.
You're watching West Hartford Community Television.
For the community, by the community.
Hi, my name is Katja Dunn with William Ravis. I'm a real estate agent in Avon, West Hartford. Welcome to Home Chat, your local show about home, house, and real estate. Home Chat is a local show which covers topics like real estate talk, law, inspection issues, how to maintain your home, gardening, organization and decluttering, which will be our subject today again, first-time buyer issues, first-time buyer market, but also how to get your home ready for sale, ready for the market. If you haven't seen us before, you can always go on the West Hartford Community Television on their website and go under Video on Demand and just find Home Chat, click on it, and pick the topic you like. You can watch it 24 hours a day at any time and from anywhere. As always, here are a few statistics about the real estate market here in West Hartford. I looked at the numbers and I just compared some statistics, houses who actually closed from January 1st to up to now in 2011. Those homes really only stayed on the market for an average of 76 days. If you go back 1 year, same time, January 1st, 2010 to March 14th, 2010, houses stayed on the market 71.3 days. So the market is really a very comfortable market right now. We see multiple offer situations. We see also buyers getting great deals, and there is demand on either side. And what's most important is always location, 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 and also how well maintained your home really is, which always a well-maintained home will always sell a little faster and you stick out more out of the competitors around you. Well, having said that, today we invited Jennifer Alden, and Jennifer Alden is from Simply Declutter Succeed. She's a residential organizer here in West Hartford. And why don't we let Jennifer introduce herself? Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us today. And why don't you just tell people what you do and just give us a little bit about you.
All right. Well, thanks for inviting me today, Katja.
You're welcome.
So I have a professional organizing business here in West Hartford. I serve people to help them organize their homes, their environments, their photos. We help with downsizing, all aspects of decluttering and really simplifying life. So I have a company called Help Organizers, which can help people find an organizer who's right for them.
That sounds interesting. And so today we have been thinking about topics. And you see, I'm teaching this class in West Hartford, and I ask people, what is it really you like to get out of this wonderful meeting today? And people say paper clutter is one of their biggest problems. You know, when you think back, a lot of seniors are not really used of throwing things out, like their statements and pictures, and people saved everything in their attic and basement. So maybe why don't we talk a little bit about paper clutter today? And one of the first questions, Jennifer, is how can people take control of all the paperwork that comes into their home? So it's not just the stuff we have in the attic and basement. So much is...
So whenever we organize, we focus on the current, whatever is coming in, because if we don't take care of that and set up a system for that first, then we can never get to the backlog of paperwork that we want to get organized.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about organizing the paper that comes into your home. The first thing you need to do is really limit the amount of paperwork that's coming into your home. There are a couple ways you can do that. You know, we get so much mail coming in. If you go to www.optoutprescreen.com, you can stop all of those credit card offers and insurance offers that come in your mail, which is substantial for some people.
Would you repeat that website again?
So it's www.optoutprescreen.com.
Thank you.
When you go there and you fill out their form, it'll stop that kind of mail from coming to your house for 5 years. So one time, you can do it for 5 years. If you want to send a letter to their written address, you can stop it for a lifetime. So that's huge. Cut down on that paper coming in. Another way you can cut down on the paper, which many of us have already done, is go to online bill paying, right? So not just paying your bills online, but also request the statements be sent to you online. So, for example, your bank statement, which comes in the mail for some people each month, is 7 or 8 pages. If you can have it sent to you online, that's the best way to go, because you can save it into a file, save all your statements for the year, and then just burn those to a disk and save them with your tax records, and you don't ever have to deal with the paper clutter. All right. But there is still a lot of paper that comes into our homes, right? Okay, so for the paper that comes still coming, we need to set up a home paperwork center.
Okay.
When you get paper in, the first thing you need to think about, and you'll know because in your house you probably have a pile of paper someplace, right?
I do. All the children's work.
Yes, all of that as well. So a lot of people have this ideal of all their home paperwork ending up in a home office, which oftentimes does not happen because it ends up in a pile in the kitchen or on the dining room table.
And day number 2 just adds up, right?
Right, and day number 3, right? And then all of a sudden, day number 4, you need to find a paper, and it's in this
lost.
big pile, and you're not sure where you can find it. And people waste a lot of time, and they waste money on late bill fees and that kind of thing when all the paperwork gets messed together. So
definitely a problem.
Wherever that pile lands, for me it was on the kitchen counter, and for a lot of clients it's on the kitchen counter. We spend a lot of time in our kitchens, right? So that's where you want your center to be, wherever the paper lands. All right. In that center, you need to have a recycling can, and you need to have a shredder, because immediately when the mail comes in, we want to get that paper that we can get out right away. Don't let it invade your space in your home.
So don't get tempted to take it up to your office.
No.
Set it up right in
We
your
don't want to
kitchen.
move it around the house
Perfect.
because that doesn't make sense. So if we can recycle it right away, you get some ads in the mail, I'm not going to use these. Recycle it right away. So sorting the paperwork right away is important. Now, what you have left is the stuff that's important that you're going to need to deal with. You're going to have 2 types of paperwork that can be archived, so like tax paperwork or medical paperwork or insurance, statements, that kind of thing. Those can be archived someplace out of your central living space. So maybe in the basement or maybe in the home office where you have a filing system set up. Okay, so those are one kind of paperwork, the kind that needs to be archived. Then you've got the important papers you need to act on. So that's like a bill that needs to be paid. It's a newsletter that you might want to read at a later time. It's a form that you need to fill out for your child's summer camp. All of those kind of things that need to be acted on. So for those kind of things, you really need to have an action filing space. And that's going to be right near your recycling and your shredder in that home office not home office, but paperwork center.
Paperwork center.
So you can come up, there are a couple of things on the market that you can use to file your papers. You can get a vertical file stand to sort files. You could use something like this, which is just a portable tote that has, 7 or 8
Pockets.
pockets, yeah.
Which I think is important because I'm just thinking about my kitchen. I have a little desk area, I will call it, but I couldn't put a filing cabinet there. So I think, for people who have maybe less space, this is looks like a great option.
Something like this or something like this, which also comes with, several folders so that you can further sort those important papers. You're going to sort those important papers into a to-pay file, so we're going to call them action words. To pay, because you'll have bills, right? To do, because you're going to have things you need to follow through on. Possibly to read if you have a lot of things that you want to save for reading. Sometimes it's good to have a place for each child or your significant other, because you might get mail for them, but you're not sure exactly what to do with it, so you put it in their slot. And then when they say, hey, did I get anything in the mail, or did such and such come, you can say, well, if you did, it will be right there in that pocket for you. You know, it's easy to access, and that's the whole point. It's easy to
access for everybody. I can even see my children going in there and picking out their forms, whatever they need to take back.
Easy to act on, too. So after you have it set up, you have a way to sort your mail when it's coming in. The important thing is that this is not a dark hole. So many of us pile papers because we're worried we're going to lose them. They're important, and we're going to lose them. So we stick them on the refrigerator, right? Or we put them in a pile. And what happens is they get mixed in with all the other paperwork. And we never, like, once you have your refrigerator full of papers, you don't even consciously notice that those papers are there anymore.
It's just clutter.
It's just clutter,
Absolutely.
Right? So that important form then all of a sudden is not part of your consciousness. If you have it in something like this, and you set aside a time, once a week, once a day, depending on how many things you have to get done, you know, it could be 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the evening, to go through your to-dos and get done what you can, right? I also suggest that you keep like a little notepad in your to-do section. You might want a section for to call, because some people have a lot of calls. You know, real estate agents, you have a lot of calls you need to return.
I cannot live without a list.
Right,
a to-do list.
And what happens for people a lot of times is they get a phone call, they pick a scrap of paper up, write it down, and they feel confident they have it written on a scrap of paper. And pretty soon,